Okay.
Okay.
Echo's gone. You
Okay.
can hear the audio.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Let's do a show.
Holy fuck. The following podcast contains adult language and themes, so don't say we didn't fucking warn you.
You're listening to SarahTalk. It's political.
If you really give a fuck about the life of the unborn, you'd better be prepared to help fund WIC and food stamps and welfare, because you don't get to say, I care about that life until it's born, and then turn around and say, well, you shouldn't have had sex if you couldn't care for this child. You should have gotten a better education. You need to work harder. Maybe you should take a second job. It's not my responsibility.
Critical.
When was the last time a Christian was allowed to have a separate place to say their prayers? Look, you can literally bow your head at your fucking desk. You're like, why did he get the thing and I didn't get the thing? You didn't ask for the thing!
And positively LGBT positive.
Look, whenever there's someone coming after my community, they are either wearing a MAGA hat, carrying a Bible, or more often both.
Oh, and occasionally completely absurd.
What the hell is in Idaho?
Potatoes.
Anyway? You could take a drill a
Drill
hole
up
in
a
a potato and fuck
you'd
a
be
potato.
fine.
Would you marry a potato though? Could that be okay?
No, but you wouldn't have to marry a potato because a potato doesn't need consent for you to fuck it.
And now, from Haines City, Florida, your host, Sarah Austin.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to SarahTalk. Oh, Jesus. What are we, 30 minutes behind where we actually started? We started early. And y'all couldn't hear it. And that sucks because it was really funny. We did this bit
really
about how
funny.
I wasn't in here and we started early.
Right as she
I
hit the
wasn't.
button to turn the thing on, she goes, oh crap, I've got my phone. And I said, well, go get it. I don't have time for that. Go get it. I'll start the show. It'll be funny.
And it was.
It was hilarious.
It was
and
great.
You guys didn't hear any of it.
Nope.
And because I don't even know how to hit record, it didn't even record it. So
No,
is it recording now?
it is.
Oh, fabulous.
I don't know how well. Oh, wait. No, it's not.
Oh, fuck.
Whatever's happening here should be recorded, though.
You guys, this is fucking brilliance right here. You guys don't even know. It's so brilliant that it's stupid.
See, now it says we're recording, but it's... Fuck, I don't know.
Oh, my God. So anyway.
Hopefully the thing on the Facebook thing records. I don't know. We'll see.
Like,
If
fuck
not, we don't have a show. Fuck it.
if you missed it now, you missed it.
Yep.
No promises.
FREEFLO.
Free flow.
That's what we wanted to talk about first.
Mm-hmm. It
So,
was so much easier than this bullshit. Holy fuck.
for someone, it wasn't easier for me.
It didn't look like you were struggling.
I was stressed the fuck out.
For like the first half of the first day, I could
Yeah.
tell you were nerves. Like
Yeah.
just all a ball of nerves.
Yeah.
But you played it off well. I mean, you had everybody convinced that you were shaking because you had drank too much coffee, so that was good.
Drank too much or needed more. One or the
One
other.
or the other, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was good. It was all good. You did a good job.
Yeah. So, Jocelyn and David asked me to emcee FREEFLO. It's the Freethought Florida conference, and we had a great time. And where do you want to start? Because so let me start by, I guess, the lead up to the event, right? So I knew who the speakers were. I knew what order they were going in. I knew what their topics were going to be.
Mhm.
And so based on that, I tried to write introductions that, that weren't just,
Stale.
Becca is a graduate of such and such with this degree and that degree and works as a director at this and that. Like, I didn't want it to be boring. I wanted it to be
I'm
fun.
a little offended that you didn't write up an intro for me just now for that.
I'm sorry. Anywho, so I wanted it to be, fun. And I wanted to try to sort of crossfade from one talk to the next so that, it put that presenter's topic in mind before they got up to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But I also didn't want to say, and Becca's topic is, the title
Right.
of Becca's presentation is,
Yeah.
right? So I tried to you know.
It was good. You did a good job. I was super proud of you. It really was.
Aw.
It was good.
I have a clip. I don't know if anybody will be able to fucking hear it, but I have a clip.
I mean, I've watched it several times,
Oh,
but that's, just me.
you're partial.
A little bit.
Gizmo, Pod Puppy, is crying in the background.
Pod Puppy
you
needs to go
hear
to
the
the
Pod
other room, I think. She was crying at the door a minute ago.
Yeah.
Hold on.
She's she may not make it.
Let me get her.
So before we get to the clip though, because I'm gonna put this in order, into context a little bit. So we were at the Goodbye. Is the gate open? Okay. So we were at the Holiday Inn, Orlando International Airport, and the gallery. We had gallery 1, 2, 3, and all of the sections but like one opened up. So if in full house.
Think bigger than your standard like cafeteria at a school.
Yeah.
It
It was over like 320, 340 people, something like that.
Yeah, it was a lot of people.
So if it continues to grow, I mean, we weren't able to go 2 years ago.
Right.
Our plan was to table 2 years ago.
Yeah.
The podcast. But we just couldn't swing. We just couldn't swing it.
Yeah.
That's why we beg for patrons. And so this year I worked for my fucking table.
Yeah, right. You worked it, girl.
Mhm. So we're staying at the hotel. The first night we had a cocktails and costumes party, and there were some people that really brought it.
Yeah, I was a little like we don't do costumes,
No,
and
we
we
don't.
talked about this, and I was like, if there was like a way to do a clever costume that didn't look like a costume, I probably would have put some effort into it.
There were 2 gags that I wanted to play, one or the other, not both. But there were 2 gags that I thought about. That both involved a banana.
Banana.
So one of them was my costume was going to be just a banana, and then I was going to write "Atheist's Nightmare" on it or something.
Right.
Because that's really funny. And if you haven't seen that video, we'll throw it in the comments. But
I could have just run around screaming and you chasing me, and I would wear like an atheist
You should
shirt.
wear your
and be
atheist
like,
shirt.
"Ah!"
that would have been great.
We could
Would've
always
been some
do
good
it
pictures.
next time.
We can. And the other one was like to start the conference, walking out to the podium,
Right.
reaching into the podium and holding up a
Holding up
banana.
a
and saying,
banana.
Behold, the atheist's nightmare. I don't do Australian.
That was pretty
Very
good
well.
right there. That little tidbit. You don't need much.
No.
You just nail that sentence. You're good.
Yeah.
I did, however, love
My British?
your British hodgepodge of all of the, what did you call it?
I said, so, well, hold on. We'll
Okay,
get to
yeah,
that. We'll
okay,
get to that.
okay.
We'll get to that. So that was the cocktails and costumes party. There a ton of people showed up for that. It was really cool. And that was fun because, although we did have to like tell the DJ a few times, like, whoa,
Too
dude.
loud,
we're-
dude.
Yeah. Like, yes, there are some people dancing,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of us just came to chat with people.
Yeah.
Like, you could have just had some soft music going.
Yeah.
And
it would have been fine.
and it would have been fine. And I remember seeing either on Facebook
Very
or
specific
on
wording.
their website or something, a very specific language about that the music would be low enough that you could have conversations with people. So that was, anyway.
It was an expectation that had been
Yeah.
set.
And I mean, at one point, it was it Monica and Phil, or was it the American Atheists crew that we were talking to, where I was just like,
I think it was the American Atheist crew.
right. So we were talking to Sam and Debbie.
Yeah.
And we're like wallflower corner people.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
there were some people there that were like, just pollinate all the tables. I'm just going to go talk
Right.
to everyone and introduce myself and all of this stuff. And I'm
Which
like,
is- yeah.
I'll be right over there in the corner with a drink in my hand, and you are happy to come up and talk
Yeah.
to me. You're welcome to do that, but I am not a pollinator.
We lapped the room once.
Yeah.
Just to kind of,
But so we're standing there talking to Debbie Goddard, who's the vice president of outreach
Yeah.
and something or other at the
love her.
She was great.
So, like totally not what I expected.
And we all gravitated towards each other because we're all kind of like
in that
introvert, shy people.
Yeah, like
yeah.
I only have so many spoons today.
And Sam too.
Sam was awesome.
She was a lot of fun.
I had a mini meltdown on day 2, and she followed me out into the hallway and just let me cry. It's one of these weird things about being a mom when you take your kids to things like this, is when your kids have meltdowns, you don't ever anticipate that you're going to need to have a meltdown too. Yep. Well, guess what happened to me? Yeah, so she was amazing.
Anyway, so we're standing in the corner talking and screaming at each other. To hear each other. And I was like, look, I have to host this goddamn 2 days. I got to talk for 2 days. I need a voice.
Especially with some of the things that you had to say.
Right. I can't do a Gilbert Gottfried impersonation on a bad throat. So, but anyway, we'd mention it to him, and then they'd have it turned down, and then we'd have to mention to him again.
Say, put the leash back on your DJ over there.
I was a DJ for a while.
It happens.
I know that trick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was good. Yes, we had the kids with us.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to mention that. And that was a thing, and we've talked about this a lot. And I talked about this when I introduced some relevant people to that topic. Because Camp 42 was there.
Loved that.
And they were fantastic.
Amazing.
And so they had a whole room dedicated just for the kids to go and do the kids things, and they had activities,
cool stuff.
And,
like, I don't know if you got a chance to go in there, but they did. They had like this. It looked like cells, basically made out of little plastic pieces, and you could like kind of build like different things, and
cool.
It was really, really
cool. They had a projector. They watched some movies.
They had a button machine. You could make the little buttons, and they had paper circles cut out. The kids could design them, and then they popped them in this machine. So the kids came home with a ton of little buttons that they made. So it's kind of cool.
But so they got to go.
Yep.
And be involved and have something to do and not be in our way.
Yep. It was so good.
So that was what was hard, because I was not there as an attendee.
Yeah.
I was there working it. Right.
Yeah.
And so that left it all on you. If you had to run out of the room to go handle a kid, it had to be you.
Yeah. And I did.
Because I was working.
Even though they were there were a couple of times when I had to get up and go and and attend to them, because like I said, meltdowns happen unexpectedly.
Right.
But just knowing that they were in a room with other adults, and I was, a couple of rooms away, but they were okay. Like I was worried going into it, just not knowing what to expect. And I had so much anxiety about that. And I was like, I'm going to miss all the good stuff. I'm not going to be able to hear Seth. I'm not going to be able to hear Matt. I'm going to probably miss Aaron because he's the very last talk. And by then everybody's going to be done.
Yep.
But I got to hear all 3 of the ones that I went for, and pretty much
everybody.
I mean,
yeah.
So
can you grab me a pencil, please?
Do you have a preference?
No, the pen that I use, I took with me, and I don't know where it went.
Okay.
Just something that I can jot down notes on.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we get into the full day though, right? So we walk into the cocktail party, and our 9-year-old son says,
so great. Oh my God. I'm so proud of him.
Says, oh, hey, there's Matt from the Atheist Experience. So the backstory there is I watch the Atheist Experience to fall asleep. Please don't tell anybody.
I was surprised that wasn't in one of your bits, to be completely honest.
Know. Well,
don't fall asleep.
I had a lot for Matt.
If I fall asleep, it's because I'm used to falling asleep.
Right. So, no, listen, what I do is I put on YouTube, right? And it just plays, it does the autoplay playlist thing where it just goes to the next video or whatever. And I guess because I've heard so many of them, it's like I used to watch Star Trek The Next Generation to go to sleep because I'd seen every episode a million times. And
sounds.
It's a sound frequency that I can just shut my brain off to, I guess.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he comes in sometimes when I'm, before I get up for work and the thing's still playing. He's seen the show, but he hasn't like sat down and watched it to pay attention or whatever.
Right.
So it was neat that he was like, oh yeah, there's Matt.
It was one of those moments where, as a parent, when your kid starts like singing Bon Jovi
Yeah,
or Def
yeah.
Leppard, you're like,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
It's like parenting win.
Parenting done right.
Yeah.
Ding. Yeah.
So it was
that was
definitely
cool.
awesome.
Okay, so that was the first night.
Yes.
So then Saturday, all day, we had a lineup of speakers. And I had prepared, just in case, because I wasn't sure. In the beginning, it was just, here's the list of speakers, here's the like,
Right.
yeah, I mean, it wasn't even that. I went on the website to see who was
Right.
scheduled for when. But I knew what their talks were. And so I wrote intros for everyone. And then like right at the last minute, I got, here is the specific time breakdown.
Yeah.
At this time, this needs to start. At the break needs to start at this time. The next speaker starts at this time. The next speaker starts at this time. The only major change is Jocelyn will be introducing Seth, then she'll introduce you.
Right.
And
Oh, and Carlos.
And well, yeah, Carlos then Seth.
Right.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Whatever. I had 3 note cards worth of shit to for Seth too. And I was like, all right, so how do I salvage some of that? Right. So, all right, you're going to introduce me. And so then I had some things for Seth. I said, I said for Carlos on the break, and this is, if you haven't listened to our episode with Representative Carlos Guillermo
this
Smith,
was funny.
please go back and listen to that episode. He's just, God, I love Carlos so much. And one of the things that we talked about, here's the thing about me that people don't understand, that David probably didn't understand, and Jocelyn, when they asked me to do this. I'm ADHD, okay? I obsess over everything, every little goddamn detail. And so for all of these speakers, the ones that I didn't know, I Google searched them. I YouTube searched them. I watched some of their stuff. And to try to get a feel for like who they are and what they do and how they present, so that I, knew some things to say. And so, but for Carlos, we'd had him on the show. And I knew when I had him on the show, I did a shit ton of research, as I did for the speakers.
So you already had your research done.
And I learned that he once appeared on Fear Factor. And if you, at the end of the show, go to the YouTube and YouTube search for Carlos Guillermo Smith Fear Factor,
you will find
some great clips. I think I even have a playlist.
You probably do.
On the SarahTalk YouTube.
It's funny.
Anyway, so I mentioned that, and then for Seth, I had some things too that I was gonna do ahead of time. Goofy podcast shit about that one didn't land, and I don't know if it was because it was early and people didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
But it was like, hey, how about Seth Andrews? Whatever, clap. You. Did anybody hear his recent episode about
there were a few
ASMR?
chuckles, but it wasn't. I mean, the other stuff was like, boom, roar laughter, and
So I did a thing about, because Seth did an episode on ASMR recently, and the joke about Seth is that we could all just listen to his voice, like, Seth, right? And so I made a joke about Seth doing an ASMR app, but it was like all the podcast things that you slip into your MeUndies and pull up your Brooklyn and sheets on your Casper mattress and download Seth Andrews, the ASMR Seth Andrews Experience app. It didn't land as well as some of the later stuff did, and I think it was early.
I thought it was funny, and I'm not even a podcast person,
right?
But I know enough about, I've heard enough of the stuff that you listen to know what the references are there. But I do. I think it was too early for it.
Yeah.
I hate to do this, but we have to backtrack because Russell says no one's saying anything, but I sometimes turn on SarahTalk episodes to fall asleep.
It's all right. Get that view count up for me, buddy.
You're right. Anyway, so
okay, so Carlos and then Seth, and then we sort of started getting into the groove. Let me get back to my notes here. Most of my commentary has to do with the well-known, the more well-known folks. Wait, was Aaron the first night or is that Saturday night when we met him in the lobby?
Oh, that was the first night. Yes.
Okay,
we
that
have to
was
talk
during the
about that.
cocktail party.
Yes.
After the car, in the middle of it.
Yes.
Right. We were on our way back to the room, weren't we?
We
were like, oh, it's getting loud in here. Let's go.
I don't. Were we? Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
We kind of were, but not quite.
So you walk out of the galleries, and there's table.
We weren't on our way back to the room.
Okay, whatever. You walk out of the galleries. There's table alley set up, which was I really liked the way that was set up.
Yes, it was perfect
because it kind of forced you to
you had to walk
around
through that area
and see the tables and the people that were.
You couldn't bypass really anything, and you had to walk by.
Yeah. There was no way to avoid it, which is kind of but it wasn't intrusive either. Yeah. And so then just beyond that is kind of the entrance and the lobby and the bar.
Yep. And there's like a seating area in front of the bar with couches and chairs and little coffee table type stuff.
And there stood Aaron Ra with Santa Claus and Santa Claus dressed as a pirate. Santa Claus was dressed as a pirate. Then there was another Santa Claus, and then Aaron. And Lalandra was there too.
Yes. She was so nice.
And she was. She was great. Just chill.
Yeah. You never know
with you.
You really never know what to expect because you kind of see these people and they're like in the spotlight of the movement, and you kind of have an idea of what their interaction with them is going to be like, and then they have their significant other, and you're just not sure.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure what to expect there, but
because sometimes you get like the personality person.
Yeah.
Is the up and around and talking to people, and then their partner is quiet and reserved and like, I'm here because he is here.
She was awesome.
But she was great. She and Aaron will both be on the Freethought cruise, which is next year.
Bad.
So anyway, there stands Aaron, and it's Aaron, Lalandra, Santa, me, you, Keith, and Rachel. I think we were all there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we were all there. Mind you, I'd had like 3 drinks by this point. So.
Right. So
who knows?
Aaron might not have even been there.
Yeah.
And
some guy off the.
so Aaron says, "Hey, you'll know." No,
are you a local?
No, first of all, I walked up. Right. So he's engaged talking to Santas, and one of them actually does play Santa. That's not just me being an asshole. And I did that thing where I hadn't met him before, but I'm going to tell dumb jokes about him and introduce him. And so I want to stop and say hi and thanks for being here and all that stuff. So I just kind of stood. I did that thing where you just kind of stand off to the side and politely wait for either someone to invite you into the conversation or for the circle to open up, and you can. And Aaron Ra turns to me and says, "I think I've only seen you on YouTube." And I was like, sorry, sir, you've seen me on YouTube? I've seen you on YouTube. Blah, 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 blah.
Excuse me while I go change my pants.
And I wasn't fangirling at all.
No.
Like for any of them. But for him to turn around and like
kind of deal is like,
I was like, whoa, look, I'm just a little nobody. And okay, you've seen me on YouTube. Great. Thanks. Yeah. So anyway, then we were standing there bullshitting, and he says, "Hey, you're a local. You'll probably know this. Where can I get Evil Twin?"
Like, evil what?
And we're like, "What?" It wasn't even that. It's like, "Where can I get the good beer or something like that? Strong beer."
He said, like, whatever it is.
Anyway, but he was like, "No, this stuff is, see, in Texas, you can't get anything above like, what was it, 17 ABV?"
The one he was looking at is like 12.
Oh, it's 12. Okay, so I don't know what the top was.
I think the top.
Because he said you can't get 17, more than.
But you can't get more than.
Anyway, this stuff's banned in Texas.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Can you get that here?" And we're like, "I don't know." So we all pull out our phones, like all 4 of us pull out our phones, and we start looking. And we're like, yeah, it looks like you can get it here. And there's a liquor store like across the street, looks like. Yeah. And he was like, "Okay, let's go," and started walking towards the door. Just like that. Okay, let's go.
Then we realized it wasn't quite so close because my map was doing this weird thing. But
I discovered that he did indeed get to that liquor store because he posted a picture. Now, they were dressed up as Morticia and Gomez and Morticia,
Gomez, yeah.
right? And they ran into someone at the liquor store dressed as Wednesday.
Oh, that's creepy.
So they had to take a picture.
Well, I knew they
So
got
that's
to the
how I knew
liquor
they
store,
made it,
but
that
I
somebody
asked
took
him
them.
the next day if he had found it, and he said he didn't find
Oh,
it.
he didn't. Oh, that sucks.
They made it to the liquor store, but they didn't have them. And he was like, "If it shows on your website," then they're like, "No, we don't have it."
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, so I felt really bad. So then I was like, "Well, how do I get this stuff imported to the cruise that they're going to be on?"
Right? Right. So that was Aaron. That was a lot of fun.
Aaron was so much fun.
And then, like, but if ever we were going to again do a Florida Man story, it would be the story of Aaron Raw looking for beer.
That's outlawed in Texas.
That's outlawed in Texas.
Holy shit. He was so, like, he was just so chill too. Like, he's this big, scary looking dude. And it's kind of off-putting because it's intimidating. And then,
But he's really not.
But he's not.
And that's why I wrote the jokes that I wrote about him.
It was like, man, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It was so cool. It was so cool.
So then, so we then had the speakers all of the first day, and they were just fantastic. I want to say Bertha was on the first day.
Yes.
And I just absolutely love her to death.
I loved Bertha.
After we did the Freethought in Florida thing with her, I was just like, she is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And so I introduced her, and I don't even know what I said now that tripped her up.
It was
she
about
was
your
like,
how you wrote
Well, yeah. So okay, so the story that we talked about on Freethought in Florida, if you haven't seen that episode, was that my experience in science class was, well, maybe it was because I said, like I led off with, when you interview people, you know what you're going to get. I know when I get Seth Andrews on the horn, I know what that interview is going to be.
Yeah.
But some of these people I didn't know, and I'm looking up and trying to watch their YouTube and stuff, and you just don't know how the interview is going to go. And when I worked in, like, all the way back to when I worked in radio, we wrapped up some interviews and we're like, fuck, what a waste of time that was.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't know what you're going to get.
Land.
And so after I interviewed her for Freethought in Florida, I was just like, you're family now. Like, I love you so much. And I fucking wish you had been my science teacher.
Yeah.
Because I might have been more engaged in the content. But we talked about, like, my recollection of science, and we're talking like junior high school, was still a very detailed learning of what science has taught us, and less why and how. And it's the process of science that I find interesting now. 40 years old. It's the process of discovery, the idea that there are undiscovered things and that we are finding them, and there's a system in place to do that. Shit's exciting. Draw and label the parts of a cell. Fuck off. And I saw a really great meme somebody posted that was like, it was two different images, and one was like a very detailed diagram of the cells. Like, here's what's in the textbook of what a cell looks like. And then the bottom one was just this blurry, like it'd been through a photocopier 50 times. So, like, this is what it looks like on the test. And you have to draw an arrow and label. That's exactly what my experience was. Yeah. So I told Bertha that when I was in like 7th or 8th grade, maybe freshman year biology, I hated science so much that I wrote atop a science test, I hate science, and I misspelled science. And it just, she reacted in such an emotional way. And that tells me what kind of teacher she is. Yeah. Like that, just that one point in the timeline. Anyway, so she was like off stage crying, like she took the stage and was like, I did not expect that. I'm not sure what to say now. Like, I didn't expect that. Okay, we're not doing this right now.
No, you go. No. Goodbye.
So that was great. I'm trying to think of who else there was on Saturday that we really liked. Dan was on Saturday. Dr. Dan Batcheldor. Wow. His was great too.
And don't tell anybody, but
well, his was one that I just didn't know him. I didn't know much about him. I'd never seen him talk before. I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
the let me look it up.
And I think I was out of the room at that point that you introduced him, so I didn't even see your original introduction to him. And I
think that one was pretty dry. I don't think I had a lot of jokes to that.
That was like, but I think I missed the first 5 minutes of his presentation, maybe.
Okay, here's what we had.
But came in and was like, oh man, what did I miss? This is sounding so
Saturday morning, we had Carlos Guillermo Smith, Seth Andrews, Sarah Galuli from Americans United.
Yeah.
That was good. Dr. Sakivu Hutchinson, Gina Duncan from Equality Florida, Anjan Chakravarti.
His was great.
His was great too. And his was weird too because I watched some of his talks. And we actually had this conversation in email because I tried to get him on the show. And he was like, listen, maybe after Free Flow, I'm really trying to like be better at communicating to like the lay audience.
Yeah.
And then when I watched a presentation that he gave, it clicked for me because it was cerebral. It was full of jargon. It was a scientist talking to other scientists, sort of thing. And so he talked about people who are skeptical of science and how that's not skepticism. And that was interesting.
I was afraid I was going to be bored out of my mind. With his, and I actually really found it very palatable and enjoyable.
And then Bertha Vasquez, who BT Dubs works with Richard Dawkins.
Yeah, like how can you not?
Holy crap!
Hello,
right? Amy Monsky, who does the Camp 42. Dr. Dan Batcheldor, who was great. He talked about why scientists are silent about all of this misinformation and fake news and
that
science
was very
denial.
Like grim. Like I think you could suck the air out of the room. Like,
and that was the end of the day.
But it was still like a great presentation. But it really gave you a perspective. Like, because I think a lot of people say, well, if the scientists really believe all this stuff, why are they so quiet? Well, you know what?
But there are reasons.
There's reasons, and
it's stuff like if you're doing science, you get paid by how many things you publish in scientific journals. And in order to get, money for funding for the studies that you want to do, and just all of this, it's almost political. The way the scientific community, because they reward you for publishing stuff. So you're not going to do necessarily a study of something that interests you if there's not a popularity in someone knowing that information. And then when you talk about like, I'm going to come speak out about these people who are denying climate change, for example, Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse Tyson make it look like scientists are all science communicators. And that's not the case. Again, when I looked at Anjan's stuff, and I was like, oh my God, we are going to like philosophy class. Fuck. There's no benefit to a scientist to become a science communicator. Because their future, their career is all tied up in publishing papers and doing the research and not explaining it to you and me, but explaining it to other scientists. So anyway, that was interesting. I don't want to spend a lot of time on that.
There were a few speakers that kind of touched on that too. And I liked that was like a reoccurring conversation because it really brought the points home. That, unfortunately, you're not going to find a lot of scientists coming out and communicating it. But this is why. And then it kind of lights that fire as to this is why we have to have activism. And this is why we have to be those people in the front runners.
So then we had dinner. And dinner was interesting because they had it set up. You could pay extra to sit with your speaker of choice.
There was room.
If you got there quick enough, first come, first serve, right? So if you want to sit at a table with Matt Dillahunty, you can sit at a table with Matt.
You know who I had to sit with? Because I didn't pay.
Me.
I had to sit with Sarah.
For some reason, I was listed as I wasn't listed. Sorry. If you go back to the website and look at the choices,
she's not on there.
I was not a choice.
So guess what? Nobody sat with us except for...
We did have reserved seating, which was, we got to come in early and sit down and,
But nobody wanted to sit with us. Sam came and sat with us.
But that was actually fine.
okay. It was,
Again,
it was
as
good.
people who are not like, oh, let's just talk to everyone in the room.
Until
like
trivia
someone
came
we know.
along, and then it was like, well, shit. You don't know anything. I don't know anything. Are we going to lose at trivia?
Well, and I think once we got to the point where we were like, let's just have another drink and stay here for the comedy of it all.
Right.
Anyway, so the Orlando Gay Chorus performed. Devin Siebold, the comedian in Polk County, fucking hilarious.
The gay chorus.
The gay chorus was funny too.
Was hilarious too. They like tailored their songs to the crowd. They sang a song about eating babies. Like it was really fun.
Hallelujah chorus, but instead of hallelujah, it was evolution.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Such
other choirs have performed some of those songs before.
It was I had never.
But I love that they did sort of specifically change their set list to be for us.
It's really cool. Really cool. I enjoyed that. I don't know. I just I love the Orlando
Devin
Gay
Siebold
Chorus.
was great.
He was a riot.
He was. A lot of his material I had seen from his YouTube and Facebook and stuff, but it was still really good. I mean, I laughed again.
Yeah.
You know, it was that funny. And then we had science trivia with your host, Dr. Dan Bachelor again.
So funny.
And he's a riot.
He really is.
He is so funny.
We need to get him on the podcast.
We do. I'd love to get him down to talk to our group too.
Yeah, that too.
But so I'm trying to remember how that play. Oh, right. I do remember now how that played in. So at the end of Saturday, Dr. Dan was the last speaker.
Yes, he was.
And then we had Dr. Dan for science trivia. And at some point in there, I'd been drinking. Couldn't tell you when. At some point in there, we bump into him. And Becca said,
this is the next morning, I think.
Was it the next
morning? Oh, no, it was right before dinner.
Yeah. It
was right before dinner on Saturday.
Right.
It was at the end of the day on Saturday.
And so this is a bit that I did early in the morning.
I said to him, so I just want to let you know, I thought you gave the best talk all day.
Right.
And he said,
will you tell that to Seth Andrews? It was great.
Now
it was great. And so then I took that and fucking ran with it.
Because everybody knows how much I love Seth Andrews.
This is true.
I mean, I was sitting front center for Seth Andrews on Saturday morning. Anyway, but it put me in a really nice place for Dr. Dan. Wink, wink. Anyway, so then Sarah throws me under the bus the next day.
So...
Well, you got to talk about trivia.
What about trivia?
The team that won trivia.
Right. I talked about this on Sunday morning too. The team that won trivia, I think they are the Brevard County group, or many of them were from the Brevard County group. Suncoast Skeptics?
I think it's Suncoast.
Yeah,
yes.
Something like that.
It was Suncoast.
Yeah. And so 3 groups had like 12 points. Ours had 3 points.
We had 4.
Oh, 4, whatever.
Because J and Q were on the periodic table, apparently not on the periodic. I don't know, whatever.
So 3 teams had the same number of points. They sent 1 representative each up to the stage for
the tiebreaker.
For a tiebreaker, for playoffs. And the winning team, Jennifer, who was the sacrificial lamb to have to go up and do the tiebreaker, her question was, how many letters are there in the Russian alphabet?
No lie. This girl just goes, whatever the Russian fucking alphabet is.
Reciting
the Russian alphabet, counting it out on her fingers. Goes on to win.
Yep.
Fucking nuts.
It's crazy. And as I said,
and Dr. Dan couldn't believe it either.
Right. Right. I was astonished. But then on further reflection, I thought, in a group like this,
it's not really
the odds of there being someone who knows,
Well, they were saying behind her when she was doing it, I heard somebody, because the table was next to us, somebody said, wow, what are the odds that it would be one of the 4 languages she actually speaks?
Yeah, so there you go.
Like, fucking seriously.
Right.
Chick speaks 4 languages, not fair.
Right, holy shit.
She was awesome, though. And I was mad because we were supposed to be at that table because they were combining tables, and then we got shifted.
Yeah. So a couple more Dr. Dan stories. So the next morning, that night I laid in bed and I thought, like, I was reviewing the day.
It is Suncoast because he said that's in Sarasota. That's where she's from.
Yes.
He's talking to her afterwards.
Perfect.
Yep.
I was reviewing the day in my mind, as I do. It's my brain works, agonizing over every little fucking thing I said that didn't land, that did land, and what worked and what didn't.
Rewriting your script that you've worked on
and I was
for weeks.
rewriting my script for tomorrow that I'd been working on for a long, long time. And so I thought, okay, well, it'll be fun to work that Dr. Dan story in. I'll have to do that. And I don't remember what else. I added the thing about Jennifer, and I did talk about that. Because my notes for Sunday morning were tell funny things about Saturday night.
Yeah, because that was the instruction given.
That was the instruction I got. Talk about the funny things that happened. So
luckily there were funny things.
Right?
Victoria
luckily
wants
we
to
were
know,
there.
Yeah, right? Victoria wants to know how Russian alphabet is science trivia. Well, it's not, but because it was a tiebreaker, the next tiebreaker question, because there were two, was like how many are in the Greek alphabet?
Yeah. We have a little helper.
Hi, what do you need?
How about we take a break and get all the children settled up with all of their things? How does that sound?
Okay.
Yeah? Sounds like Grandma's not doing a great job out there, huh?
What are you doing? You want to be my friend?
Oh, that's so sweet.
He wants to be my friend.
All right. Well, let's take a break then. We'll come back. More breakdown of Free Flow.
Will you pick that up?
We're hoping to get to talk about we want to do another section of the election talk thing that we started a couple weeks ago, but we'll see how far we get. We're going to go mischief manage the kids, and we'll be back. You're listening to Sarah Talk.
You have many beverage choices, but do you know what's in all of them? So much sugar, sodium, and things you can't even pronounce. Dihydrogen monoxide. What's that? Sometimes you wish you just had a simple, more elegant solution for your beverage needs. Introducing H2O, the first ever chemical-free thirst quencher. H2O is simple, simply composed of 3 portions of 2 elements, hydrogen and oxygen. H2O means chemical-free, unlike water, which is filled with all sorts of shit. When we tested H2O, we found traces of no other elements. So pure, the bottle may as well be fucking empty, with all the same nutritional content as a breath of cool mountain air. First widely featured on Goop.com, actress Gwyneth Paltrow revealed that she exclusively uses H2O for her vaginal steaming process. After all, why use water when you can steam it with H2O? So now we invite you to run out to your local garden hose and drink that shit. Remember, it's not water, it's H2O.
H2O bottled by Flint Bottling Company in Flint, Michigan. Product not actually endorsed by Goop or Gwyneth Paltrow. Please do not use H2O for vaginal steaming, or better yet, please do not steam your vagina. H2O is actually just water. Water is a set of molecular compounds. It's a chemical. Everything is a chemical.
You let Jesus into your heart. Now it's time to bring him into your home with Flat Jesus. Take photos of Flat Jesus in questionable situations and share with the hashtag FlatJesus. Flat Jesus comes in 4 fun styles. Color your own Jesus, historically accurate brown Jesus, TSA approved white Jesus, and everybody's favorite, white Republican Jesus with American flag, assault rifle, and bald eagle accessories. But don't wait, apostates. Download your very own Flat Jesus right now at SarahTalk.com/Jesus. That's SarahTalk.com/Jesus now for your free Flat Jesus. The Bible says the earth is flat. Maybe Jesus was too.
Hello, my friends. This is Sister Mary Atheist of the Church of Religious Avoidance down here in Bumblefuck, Alabama. Now, my friends, my people, my brothers and sisters, do you feel lost? Do you feel that swelling urge to be a part of something better? Well, let the word of SarahTalk help you. If you've never known the word SarahTalk, learn it, live it, love it. Can I get an amen? No? Good, 'cause we don't do that shit around here. My friends, we must all remember that the good word of SarahTalk doesn't happen for free. So get yourself over to patreon.com/SarahTalk and help us spread the word. Plant that seed and help it grow into secular, peer-reviewed empirical evidence for the good of all. In the name of the Sarah, the Becca, and the science-based podcast, amen, hallelujah, and holy shit.
Hey everyone, this is Dan Hogan from Mesa, Arizona, and thanks for listening to SarahTalk Podcast. You know, you're privileged to listen to the show. Not everyone gets to listen. I mean, the dead are not allowed to listen. They don't know what they're missing. Do you know why? Because they're dead. But if you're alive and listening, thanks, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Welcome back to SarahTalk. I'm way behind on the chat.
Okay.
What a mess.
Russell says, way to go, Mom. Making the show have to take a break because you can't keep an eye on your favorite granddaughter. Victoria says, see, if the tiebreaker was about dihydrogen monoxide, you'd have won that shit.
Yes. Oh, fuck. Why did I just do that?
And someone else, Victoria said, your kid is freaking adorable.
She is, when she's not being obnoxious.
She's not the one being obnoxious. She just is off routine.
Yeah, normally she would be in bed by now.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so we left off with day 2. And my opening was, so I asked if there had been new people that showed up for Sunday that hadn't been here the rest of the weekend. And there were a few. I was pleased that there was a response to that because my idea was to then on my sheet of things to do was to sort of reintroduce myself on Sunday morning and, you know, just briefly, hi, I'm Sarah. I'm the director of the Atheist Community of Polk County. I host a podcast, we do the show, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so I took that as an opportunity to work in another bit where I said, I think I told the stories about the night before and then I said, right. My name is Dr. Dan Batcheldor. And last night, I hosted science trivia. And the room roared. It landed so well.
Yeah,
it was great.
It was really good.
It was great. And then on the break, Dan comes up to me. And this is so funny. And I'm sorry I'm outing you, Dan, if you watch. Dan's not watching.
Dan's not watching.
Dan comes up to me during the break and he says, could I ask you a favor? And I was like, oh, not make fun of you anymore. And he was like, no, but you probably make fun of me more after this. I've lost my fucking keys. So Dan left his key laying somewhere and somebody picked it up. I don't know what happened, but it was really funny. So that was good. What else did I do? Oh, and then I had to introduce Matt. Are we ready for that yet?
No, because you didn't tell them about how you threw me under the bus.
Oh, right. So what I said was...
Then you can, like, give context. Sort of.
So what do you mean, sort of?
Like, you could, if you wanted to, you could almost tell the whole story.
I can't say or can say.
Well,
can I say it?
There were things that you cut out.
Right.
But, like, I mean, I don't know.
That I can say now why I cut them out? Is that what you're suggesting?
I don't know.
Okay. So
just tell the damn story.
Have another drink.
Uh-huh. Yeah, me too.
Okay. So I said, in order to tell the Dan Batcheldor story, I said, you know, the atheist community is not immune from scandal. We have our things that happen. And I didn't list any. Because the list that I had
There were players. Well, yeah, they were players. Not really players, I guess. Associates of players.
Yes.
People close to the situation.
Yes.
You don't want to do that. It's just not nice.
Right. Well, so my examples of recent, the most recent drama in the atheist community was Sargon of Akkad at MythCon and that whole thing that blew up. And then there was some drama with the atheist community of Austin, which Matt Dillahunty's the president of, over rationality rules and trans people in sport and this whole big thing that exploded there. And then the David Silverman thing, and several of the people who were there were on the board of American Atheists. We had speakers who were there from American. So I was just like, let's just leave it at there's some scandal that happens in the atheist circles.
Vaguely reference that scandal happens.
So then I said, and Becca's trying to create FREEFLO Gate, I think, the new scandal for this conference, FREEFLO Gate, by telling Dr. Dan that his talk was the best. And the audience was like, ooh, like they bought into that one hard too. I was great.
I mean, okay, so my two top favorites the whole weekend.
Okay.
One for each day. My favorite on Saturday was obviously Dr. Dan. I've already said this.
Yes.
And then I have not decided. I have to go back and listen because I really enjoyed Matt's talk, but I think Aaron just,
Here's the thing about Matt's talk. Matt's talk was a lot of the stuff he says on the atheist
all the
experience.
time, right?
Which plays well to the audience.
Yes.
I think.
Aaron's talk was
let me tell you why Trump is a monster and what this country could be if we'd stop doing all of this bullshit.
It was very, I want to say, he knew the destination he was going to the minute the train left the station.
Right.
And he kept it on the tracks, and it was just easy to listen to.
It was so funny because Matt came up to me and was like, I wrote this at like the second 2 a.m. because it was to turn the clock back, right? And so he's like, I don't know if I have 45 minutes or not. I'll go till you tell me to stop talking.
Right.
Like
and
that
he
was his
said
thing.
that on the stage too. He was like, I don't really write talks, and so it was
but
very
Aaron's,
much.
Well, and what's funny about it is because we had a conversation about that because all of my notes were scripted word for word. Like, I'm not one of these people that can just bullet point some ideas and then riff on them. I have to have it written out as if I were going to say it.
Yeah.
And then I'm comfortable enough with it that most cases I can not read it verbatim. But, I know what I wanted to say.
Russell wants
and then
to
if
know,
I get lost, I have it in front of me.
Yeah. You have your
But Aaron shows up and opens up his laptop, and there is his talk word for word.
Right.
And I was like, you are my people. You get me.
And you wouldn't have known it.
No.
I didn't know
if you watch the video back, you'll notice that he's looking at the screen the whole time. But, or most of the time.
A lot of the,
But it's not, it doesn't distract from the message.
From the message.
What Russell said.
Russell wants to know if the audience knew who I was. She said my wife Becca.
Yeah.
And I was out in the front row running microphones for question and answers.
Yeah,
and
right.
I was at her side the whole weekend. So
yeah. So Sunday we had Matt Dillahunty, Monica Miller from the American Humanist Association. She was the counsel that did argument in front of the Supreme Court over the Bladensburg Cross.
That was probably there was a couple where I was just like, oh yay, legal stuff. Like, I just check out for that stuff. But I did. There were parts of that where I was like, oh, that's cool. Like,
right.
It was really cool hearing about her in the chamber with the justices.
And the interview that she did on Freethought in Florida was really good too, because she really painted that picture of like she came in the solo counsel for the American Humanist Association, and she opened up her folio and spread her papers around on the table. She sort of talked about this in her talk too, but she said more on the show with us. But that she, oh, son of a bitch.
Oh, fuck you. Full of paper towels?
Yeah, I do. I didn't hit the important shit.
Pick the keyboard up at least.
Here's her. I can talk and do this at the same time.
Rice.
Here is her. Here's her at her table, and next to her, like across from her, is the other council's table, and it was. Oh, we got muted. That's all. I don't know if that was keyboard related.
Russell
but
says, "Wait, Becca is having rum."
Yeah, and I'm the one that knocked over the
your
glass.
mother is here. What do you think? Jesus. Here's a Lysol wipe so that it doesn't stay sticky.
Well, I still need. I'm not done.
I know.
Here, dog.
That
Lick
box
that
of
clean.
tissues is empty. You can put the wet stuff in there.
Okay. So anyway,
well, I guess there's a garbage can behind you.
let me finish the story.
Okay.
So next to her is this like team of master lawyers who have presented before the Supreme Court before. They're all men, very well respected in the whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then you have Monica, who's like arguing her very first case in front of the Supreme Court ever. And it's just her and a little folder full of papers. And these guys had just like buckets of the paperwork that they brought with them to, if they needed to reference a document or whatever. So she painted that story really well. I thought better when she was on the show with me than she may have done in the room. But anyway, but she, yeah. So if you, it was a lot of review for me because we talk, that's the stuff we talk about on the show. And I read those things and I've seen her quotes on the news channels or whatever about, how the case went and what it means for the future. And so I kind of knew, what her talk was going to be.
Did you lift the computer up?
Yes, I can sort of check out from that.
Okay.
But anyway, she was really good. I do just want to sort of make mention of some of the sexist motherfuckers that were, making comments about how darn pretty she was. There was a lot of that.
Yeah. You muted me again.
Oh, son of a bitch. I bet one of these buttons is tied to
Yeah. I was watching you wipe the keyboard thinking, what kind of things is going to happen in a minute here when she...
Now I want to figure out which button does what.
Victorious wants to know if you are sure you need that refill.
Of course. Duh.
Well...
What? Do you disagree? Look, I don't have to do anything tomorrow, but prepare for going to work. All right. Well, we'll take that apart tomorrow.
Will you?
Yes, I will.
I guess you'll be in here editing.
Yeah. Yeah. Got a lot of fucking editing to do. Well, that's not good. So Monica was good. And then who was after Monica?
Provide a pin. Who was after Monica?
Oh, Ryan Cragen.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I sort of want to back up maybe and do the Matt Dillahunty thing.
Yeah.
Because there was a tie-in.
Yes.
Later with Ryan Cragen that I thought was pretty funny. So I'm going to try to play this. Somebody tell me if it actually, if you can hear the clip at all. Because I don't know that you will be able to.
We can't even hear it.
Oh, I know why. Okay. Sorry if you were able to hear that just now. Okay. So I did my introduction to Matt Dillahunty was in the style of a Comedy Central roast. Matt did not know that I was going to be doing this. But I figured What's the worst that can happen?
You just
He's either going to love it or I'm going to be blackballed from the atheist movement. Whatever. So let's try that again. And so part of my roast was Gilbert Gottfried impersonations.
So welcome to the roast of Matt Dillahunty. I'm Sarah Ray. I'll be your roast master. We have some great roasters for you today. Gilbert Gottfried. Matt Dillahunty is half the man he used to be. That's a weight loss joke. It's okay, I'm used to having to explain my jokes. This is what you have to look forward to all day. You gotta scrunch your face up. At the Last Supper, how come there was no one sitting on the other side of the table? You see, I think there were people sitting on the other side, and they were just the people going, you know, the air conditioning hits me right on the back of the neck. I was talking to Jesus.
I should mention.
Oh, you're down audio again.
I don't have that.
No one
Son
will
of a
ever
bitch.
accept me.
What happened here?
And Jesus said, you know, my theory is, accept me.
This is some serious
Nope.
fucking bullshit.
Nope.
Nope.
I don't know what you changed, but you screwed it up again.
I didn't change anything.
Well,
Wait, let me go back to there. This is some fucked up shit. Hey, we may just end the show. Can anybody hear anything? Do you have your audio up? Because fuck this. This is some fucked up shit. Yeah, see, you can hear it, but we can't.
that's
What
so
the fuck?
weird.
Hey, we may just end the show. Can anybody?
Oh, well, now I just turned my phone off. Well, fuck this. I swear to God.
Just end the show. Can anybody hear anything? Do you have your audio up? All right, let me try this one more thing. Jesus Christ.
Oh, my God.
Stream. All right. Okay. So the people can hear us.
The people can hear us. We can't hear ourselves, so it's really bizarre.
That's it's real.
And I
strange.
can barely hear you because I got headphones on. So I'm going to turn my headphones off my ear.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Son of a bitch.
Now it's all distracting. You can't continue with your...
I got it.
Oh.
Okay, now we're back on.
What the fuck? Tell me what it was so that the next time it happens.
Some track was switched on to
What
solo.
the hell? Oh,
I don't know why.
Jesus
and
fucking
you shouldn't have been able
fuck.
to hear during that. Whatever.
Whatever.
Listen, I'm going to have another fucking drink because this is some bullshit.
Where were we?
I don't know. We're talking about something.
Matt Dillahunty is half the man.
Oh my God, don't do that. Should we start that over? Or should we
They
just
heard it.
pick up where we left off? Well, I don't know where it stopped because I intended to stop it to talk about it.
Okay, well, talk about it and then go back.
Well,
What were you going to say about it?
I'm going to have to anyway.
Oh my God. You're one of those.
Yeah, see, you can't hear that either.
Oh my God. Why don't you just do the bit?
No, I don't want to do the bit. Because then you don't get the laughs. Oh, I know why you can't hear it.
Tech issues out the ass tonight, Russell says.
Yeah, that's not going to be the title of the episode.
Well,
sorry.
Russell, maybe if
Okay,
your
here.
Patreon payment would go through, we could afford to hire a real audio technician.
Oh! Okay, here you go.
So welcome to the roast of Matt Dillahunty. I'm Sarah Ray. I'll be your roast master.
Sorry, it's quiet.
We have some great roasters for you today. Gilbert Gottfried. Matt Dillahunty is half the man he used to be. That's a weight loss joke. It's okay, I'm used to having to explain my jokes. This is what you have to look forward to all day. You gotta scrunch your face up. At the Last Supper, how come there was no one sitting on the other side of the table? You see, I think there were people sitting on the other side, and they were just the people going, you know, the air conditioning hits me right on the back of the neck.
So that is some classic Gilbert Gottfried shit. Like, I found this stuff on old, like, him doing improv specials or whatever.
Yeah.
That I mean, I love Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah. He's fun.
But I just happened to be watching, some Gilbert Gottfried whatever and saw these jokes that were sort of dunks on religion. And I thought, that'll be fun.
I was talking to Jesus And I said, Jesus, I feel like no one will ever accept me. And Jesus said, you know, my theory is, accept me or go to hell. Matt Dillahunty is taking a walk and finds a magic lamp. He picks up the lamp and rubs it, and the genie pops out. And the genie says, I'm here to grant you one wish. So Matt Dillahunty reaches into his bag, pulls out a book, and says, thank you for the prop, this is the Bible. It's caused nothing but pain and suffering and death for centuries. Can you do something about the Bible? And the genie said, not even with my power could I do anything about the Bible. Can I grant you another wish? So Matt Dillahunty says, could you make my hair long and beautiful again?
You got to know that Matt's
and
bald.
The genie says, let me have another look at that book.
Now, again, that is just another classic Gilbert Gottfried bit.
He does it, yeah.
And the way he does it is, and I leads us into the next one, but I'm going to play the rest of it out. That you sort of, the way Gilbert did it was he would tell like 3 of those in a set.
Mm-hmm.
And by the third one, by the end of his set, you knew what the the meter was. It was, it was set up punchline, but, and they got dirtier the more he told them.
Yeah.
You watch him doing these on a roast, and it's Lisa Lampanelli walking along with a magic lamp. Something about black guys fucking Lisa Lampanelli, and so I was like, I've got this one. It'll play. It's a classic Gilbert Gottfried bit. So I really enjoyed that one. And then again, if you got to know Matt, right? Some of the stuff that he does on the Atheist Experience, some of the people who call in with things that get him a little hot and wear down his patience. And, if he has to talk about slavery one more fucking time, he gets just a little cranked.
Some of my favorite Matt Dillahunty quotes. I want to believe as many true things and as few false things as possible. A God that does not manifest in reality is indistinguishable from a God that does not exist. Yes. My personal favorite, John, I'm trying to save you from looking like a jackass. John, shut up. Shut up. Matt puts John on hold, rants for 5 minutes, takes the call off hold and says, oh my God, are you still talking? Matt is currently, again, the president of the atheist community of Austin. You probably know him best as a regular host of the Atheist Experience and the 473 other shows that the ACA is doing now. Yeah. And the Atheist Debates Project. He's an atheist activist, a public speaker, a skilled debater, and a magician, and hopefully a good sport. Please welcome Matt Dillahunty.
So that was fun. I quite enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm. I think he did too.
I think he did too. Yeah, there were a couple times I looked over at him. You can see me.
Yeah.
I looked over at him just to kind of
judge his.
Yeah, gut check. How long should I let this go?
No,
there were some bits that I cut out that did not land with the audience at all. That were not very funny. But yeah, I think he came up and hugged me.
Yeah, obviously, right.
So fast forward to later in the day, and Ryan Cragen. It's time for Ryan Cragen's talk, and I don't know this guy. I don't know anything about him. Again, I did my research, and whatnot, and my intro to him was fairly dry.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I had a couple of things that were, sort of jokes. I don't remember what they are now though, but as
I got your original cue cards over here. You want them?
I was going to pull them up.
Oh, okay.
As was it, we were on a break? Yeah, we were on a break. That's what it was. And he comes up to me and we were just kind of standing around with the sound guys and talking, and he says, so did you write some good jokes for me? And I was like, oh shit, fuck, I didn't write any jokes for you. And I was like, oh man, no. And some of these I tried to keep short and sweet and to the point, keep time moving and all of this stuff, whatever. And oh yeah, I remember them now. And so I was like, I'll make up some jokes. So I got on stage to introduce him, and I said, so Ryan just said to me, did you write some fun jokes for me? And I was like, I really didn't, because we're trying to keep us on time here. What the hell? Ryan Cragen is taking a walk and finds a magic lamp. And I did a whole bit about that.
Oh my God.
And I thought of ways to improve that after I told it too, but I was just like thinking on the fly.
So
but he has a book called Could I Vote for a Mormon President? And I suggested the follow-up title, Could I Even Vote for a Guy Named Mitt? So anyway, that was Dr. Ryan Cragen. He was a cool dude too.
He was cool.
Yeah. Brandon Hott.
Yeah,
his was fun. He did a thing that he does with his students.
Kahoot.
Which is a thing. Pull out your phone and answer these questions.
It's like a timed trivia style thing.
Yeah.
And then you get awarded points for how fast you get the correct answer.
Right.
And you had to make up your own name.
Mm-hmm.
What was the one?
I don't remember now.
Crap. Huge. Ebenezer Huge.
Yeah, Ebenezer Huge. That's right.
Was one of the names.
So his was good. His was about Florida's love-hate relationship with science education, and it talked a lot about the people that we have in the government in Florida right now, and how anti-science they are, and all of that stuff. Debbie Goddard was fantastic. She was a whole lot funnier than I expected her to be, based on our antisocial conversations during the
she was really low key during the cocktail party.
Right.
And so I wasn't sure. And I was like, okay. And, and it's hard with a lot of these people because, like, she doesn't have a personality. Like, she has a personality. That's not what I meant. Like, she doesn't have a platform where she has her personality on display.
Right.
That's what I wanted to say.
Yes.
I be really careful.
Yeah.
So I, like, having only ever interacted via email, it's hard when you and then we're all on the first night, like little kids, first night at school.
Yeah.
Like, find a corner, make a friend.
Yep.
And it's just a different thing.
Yep.
And she was just amazing from start when she got on stage. I was
she was so good.
Completely captivated. It was really good.
And then to round out the whole thing, R and Ra. And that was fun. So this was my third attempt, and I wish I was better at this on the fly, like improv stuff. So I was introducing R and Ra, and then R and Ra was going to speak, and then Jocelyn was going to wrap up the thing.
Yeah.
So in my notes, I received, say your, bid everyone adieu.
Right.
And introduce R and Ra. So, I did a whole like, hey, this is it. This is my last, time to speak before you this weekend. And, I just wanted to thank everybody for being here, and thank Jocelyn and David and Joseph and the Florida Humanist Association, and thank all the volunteers and all the people and blah, 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 blah. Thank everybody.
Did the roll call.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for inviting me. All of that stuff. But when I said, like, this will be the, this is the last time I will be on
the stage or whatever.
Yeah, whatever. And there was an awe in the audience.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if that was the moment or if it was later. But at one point in there, I went, R and Ra is taking a walk and found a magic lamp. No, I don't have any more Gilbert Gottfried material. But I think it was then. I think it was in that moment of like, oh, they like me.
Yeah.
Like, stupid joke, and go. That was not written in my notes.
Perfect though.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have known that was just, oh wait, you want me to be funny again? Like,
right. But I did do a thing that was on the fly, which was a sort of, you don't have to raise your hand if you don't want to, but be honest to yourself. Who is here? Who's here that this may have been your very first interaction or experience with a trans person, or maybe you just weren't sure about this whole gender thing. Again, you don't have to raise your hand, but be honest in your mind. And there were a few people that raised their hands, and I was like, wow, okay. And just, I hope I've been a good steward of the trans community, and that I hope that it's been a positive experience. And, I've used the restroom all weekend long, and your women and children were safe.
that really went over well too.
And then I said, well, it's a good thing we didn't have any Catholic priests here. And the room turned on me.
I don't think they were turning on you necessarily.
They were like, whoa,
shots fired, but it was a room full of atheists.
And I was like, what? It's statistics. And I didn't go into it, but I could have. It is statistically more likely that you will be molested by a priest, by a faith leader, than it is that you will by a trans person in a restroom. That's just the science.
Yeah. Dr. Dan, would you confer on this?
Right. So yeah, by day 2, I hit my stride and was feeling good. I had a great time. It was a lot of fun.
It was fun.
And I think people appreciated my stupid jokes. And again, I haven't gotten the email from the atheist movement that says you've been fired and you're blackballed and don't come back. So I don't know. We'll see if anybody invites me to do anything ever again.
I'm wondering if this video isn't tagged for copyright because you stole Gilbert Gottfried's jokes.
Yeah, right. Jesus, fuck you, Facebook. Or the companies that flag us.
Yeah,
for
idiots.
Whatever. Hey, it's almost 9:00.
I know, and I'm like, woo, okay. How did it get that late?
Yeah. We were gonna do some more of the debate, but I don't think we're gonna make it tonight, y'all. And we may not do any more now that we've already had Beto drop out.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, is it even relevant?
Yeah, topics,
some of it.
Topics certainly are relevant. There's one more news story I want to get to that I don't want to forget. Let me scribble it down. So, part 2 is jobs, wealth inequality, and foreign policy. And this is where Tom Steyer tried to,
come back to life.
Yeah. CNN says,
I remembered who he was. I'm proud of myself.
I believe it. Tom Steyer offered a reply to Bernie Sanders' assertion that billionaires should not exist. South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg butted heads with Tulsi Gabbard over President Trump's decision to withdraw troops from Syria. Part 3 is gun control, opioid crisis, and big tech, where Mayor Pete got into a heated exchange with Beto over mandatory buybacks of AR-15s and AK-47s. And if I remember right, there was more in there about the whole automation. What is it? Yang calls it the fourth industrial revolution. The fourth industrial revolution. Yeah. And I believe it was in that segment. And that one was, if I were maybe going to pick out of those two, I would probably pick that one to do. Just because he's right. And I've gotten into it a lot lately, and we'll do this story to close out the night. I've gotten into it a lot lately with people over this. It seems to be something that I don't know, that whether people just don't get it, or whether whether I've suddenly got it and now I'm being vocal about it. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but so one of the stories that we talked about this past week, Microsoft tested a 4-day work week, productivity jumped 40%. Right? That was one. But we're talking about, in general, sort of the way that generations see work differently, right? We've talked about that a lot on the show over the past months. We talked about how hard work is a virtue, and that's a generational thing. And it's becoming more clear to me than ever, I think. Again, my dad got out of high school, got married, started having babies, went to work in a factory, retired from that factory job. And now you have millennials who who are not doing that, who are taking whatever the next best job is that comes along. And if I work for you for 4 or 5 years and somebody else comes along and offers me something better, bye. And that's because there's no loyalty from the company to the employee anymore. They know, look, if you had a tragic accident and died tomorrow, your ass will be replaced like that.
Yeah.
So what loyalty does anyone have to anybody?
Yeah.
And I'm glad that these kids are figuring out, like, no, I'm not just going to work for your company for the rest of my life, because what are you doing for me?
Yeah.
Fuck you. And I'm here for that. So there was an article that published, this is a local story, but I saw similar headlines. WFLA Channel 8 posted this. Kamala Harris wants to help working parents by keeping schools open until 6 p.m. And I was criticized for not reading the article. So let me read the article. Senator Kamala Harris thinks the school day should look more like a work day. Stop. That's wrong. The work day should look more like a school day. Right out of the gate, that's a wrong interpretation.
I personally was offended by the people who assumed you didn't read the article, because do they not know you? Obviously, they don't know you very well.
Well,
because you don't post things that you haven't read.
Sometimes I do.
Well,
There's a secret.
Like, whoa. Okay. But even still, just based on the subtext of what, like, okay, so, you know, when you post something, you can write a comment.
Yes.
What you wrote in your comment was, the more she speaks, the less I like, or whatever.
Yeah, the more she talks, the less I like. And that has been true of Kamala for me for a while.
And and nothing that you said confirmed or denied anything in the headline was true, false, or whatever.
Right.
All you said was, so you were sharing this article and saying, the more she speaks, the less I like.
Right.
So I just,
you're right. I wasn't talking about anything specific in
I was
the
like,
article.
seriously,
in the plan. Yeah.
What the hell, guys? Because you know what? I read the article and I had my opinions, and then I'm just like,
yeah, your comments were good too. Your replies were really good, and I'm gonna come back to that. The presidential hopeful has introduced a bill that would keep schools open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., Mother Jones reports. The extra time would be used for after-school programs and activities. Now, we have that sort of thing in our school.
Yeah.
There is an aftercare program. There are different clubs that kids can sign up for, so it's still educational. It's not just babysitting. Harris said the bill would help working parents who struggle to find childcare between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. The typical school day in America ends around 3 p.m., which is hours before 70% of parents stop working, according to Harris. Stop. That's the problem.
Yeah.
The problem is that parents need to be home with their kids, not that kids need to go somewhere so that their parents can work. That is a boomer solution to a millennial problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm over it. I'm done with it.
Yeah.
The more she talks, the less I like. My mother raised my sister and me while working demanding long hours, Harris wrote. She shouldn't have had to do that.
Right.
Parenting is a job. You should get paid for that shit.
And you know what's funny? In other countries, you do.
Right.
You get a whatever.
So she goes on. So I know firsthand that for many working parents, juggling between school schedules and work schedules is a common cause of stress and financial hardship, but this does not have to be the case. You're right. That is a stressor. We're looking at a potential of you going back to work at some point when the little one goes to kindergarten, maybe, or when she's in school full day. And you're going to find yourself limited in scope of what work you can do, because I need to be out of this job by 3, 4, whatever, so that I can be home to meet the bus or go pick the kids up from the school or whatever.
Right.
And that's going to severely limit what options there are out there. We talked about that. But again, like, the solution is not make it easier for people to work. It's to make it easier for people to parent and not have to work so fucking much.
Yeah.
The 40-hour work week is dead. It was, again, I mean, we said this, 2 weeks ago? I think we talked about this. when it was established, it was necessary because there was no formal law or regulation on work, and you could just work people to fucking death.
Yeah.
And companies did. And
They still do.
And they still do. And this idea that like, oh, let the work, just let the market do what the free market does and it'll choose the right thing. The fuck it will. It won't. It never has. We know this. And that's why unions are important, because unions are the ones that step in and say, fuck your bottom dollar. These are human beings and they need to have a life of some sort. They need to have some sort of protections from you just running roughshod over them.
Yeah. Well, Victoria brings up a great point. She says, I work from 5:30 a.m. until 3 p.m. And yeah, there's a lot of parents that are on completely abnormal work schedules because of the line of work that they're in.
Right.
That what you're going to, so those parents can put their kids in school at 4:00 in the morning. Yeah, right.
Right.
So what do you do for those parents? Like, because you can't have before school care at 4 in the morning.
Right.
Or 3 in the morning. Or like, seriously.
Somebody got you get your kids on the bus or drop them off or something.
And I know like our school offers before and after care from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And it costs money, not as much as if I had to put them in a, like, what's the word? Traditional daycare.
Right.
Or get a babysitter or any of that stuff.
Yep.
But again, it's geared towards the kids that are there. There's clubs, there's teachers that volunteer to run these programs. There's people that are staffed to oversee. Like, it's not.
Well, so let's talk about this program. The legislation would establish a pilot program, back to the article, that gives 500 schools, which serves mainly low-income families, 5-year grants of up to $5 million, along with $1.3 billion for summer programming. The grant money will go toward music, arts, athletics, writing, and engineering, and summer programming. Now, that sounds a lot like our aftercare program that our school offers.
Lots of STEM.
There's STEM
lots of
clubs, and
there's a cooking club. There's a,
School would be open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. with no closures except for weekends, federal holidays, and emergencies, according to Mother Jones. Now, here's your problem with that. My job doesn't close for federal holidays. It's open on the weekends. Like, we live in a 24/7, 365 economy. And that's killing us. We haven't figured out how to make that work. I mean, I'm old, but I'm not that old. But I remember in my small little podunk town, the grocery store would close at like 4 o'clock on Sunday.
Yeah.
And if you needed to buy
and it
something,
didn't even open
couldn't.
until noon.
No.
No.
No,
that was liquor store.
We didn't even have a liquor store.
No, not on a Sunday.
But like, if you needed to like go buy some milk, you had to drive 45 minutes to get to a Walmart.
Or you had to have a cow in the backyard.
Because the local mom and pop grocery store was not 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward, look beyond the... Okay, so the boomer solution to a millennial problem is we need to make it easier for parents to work longer hours, right? There's another solution to that problem that says we need to make it easier for parents to not have to work as much so that they can raise their kids. The problem of the future, the Andrew Yang problem, is one of these days, and parents ain't going to have to work anyway. Because the grocery store is going to be self-checkout, and it reads your credit card as you walk out the door and charges you for all your shit. Or you go online on your phone and you order, here's my groceries, tick, 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 and a fucking drone flies to your house with a box.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's packed by robots, and like the whole thing, we have got to be thinking about the future. This is a boomer solution to a millennial problem.
Yep.
I heard a new description for this younger generation, Zoomers.
Oh.
Because they're just moving so fast.
Oh my gosh.
And
that's
I
interesting.
like it.
Yeah.
Under Harris's plan, teachers and faculty are not required to work additional hours. Teachers can, however, sign up for extra shift and be paid the rate they get during normal school hours. Teachers don't get paid enough as it is.
No.
They don't have free time. These teachers are supposed to be going home and grading papers, for fuck's sake. This is not okay.
Yeah, and they're not, and they shouldn't be going home, because you know what? You know how many teachers I know personally who go home and grade papers while they're helping their own children with their homework, while they're trying to make dinner, while they're trying to raise their own families, while they're trying to make sure that they've got their personal life. There's no work-life balance ever. Anywhere anymore.
Yes.
Like, it's ridiculous.
Yes. And again, it just blows my mind that the people who are against sort of the social programs that will get us out of that eventually are the same people that are like, oh, traditional family. Yeah, again, the traditional family was you worked your factory job, and your wife didn't have to work, and everybody was home for dinner at night, and you had family dinner around the table
at 6 o'clock every night,
and then you watched Wheel of Fortune and everybody went to bed. Like, that's the traditional family that I will agree with them on that. That's a thing that we have lost that has harmed us.
Oh, yes.
As a society.
100% agree. But
this ain't gonna help.
No, that's only gonna make it worse.
Yep. The more she talks, the less I like her.
Yep. Unfortunate.
Anything going on there?
No, not really.
All right, let's wrap up the show and go to bed then.
Okay.
Apparently, I have lots of editing to do tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's true.
Is it?
One final thing, I guess. Go to the FREEFLO Facebook page if you want to see pictures from the weekend. It
was really, really good.
A ton of great pictures.
So much good.
Aaron recorded his talk and has posted it already. I don't know if I shared it to our Facebook yet or not, but I know I shared it some places.
I saw it somewhere.
But if I didn't, I'll share it because it was really good. I believe Seth and Matt both recorded theirs, and if they pop up on YouTube at some point, I'll share those out too because they were really good.
And if they didn't and you're really, really interested, I do have Matt's because I recorded Matt's.
Right. For
me.
2 low easy payments of $49.95, you too can see
No, I'm not going to try to make
Dillahunty
money.
in full.
No, I'm not doing it out of the goodness of my heart.
Maybe I'll leave you on this.
Oh my gosh.
And this is, I wish I had said this aloud on stage, but I really believe if you take Matt, Seth, and Aaron at a convention and a bunch of the other speakers, right? You can find some people in the movement.
Mm-hmm.
You get 7 or 8 people together and start doing these roasts.
Oh, I think it would be hilarious.
And what you do is you don't record them. You don't put them on YouTube. You charge people to come sit and watch these roasts. And all of the money goes toward a charity.
Yeah.
And you could do the same roast, the same jokes, the same bits,
over
and
over
travel
and over.
the whole fucking country. Do 1 in every state, 2 in every state, and do these roasts to raise money for charity. We would raise a fuck ton of money, I'm here to tell you.
Yeah, I know we would.
And I think it would be so much fun.
Yeah.
So, free idea if you want to take that and make it happen.
Put it together.
It's all yours. I can't do it.
Just make sure that you invite us.
Oh, yeah, right? Sure. I still have some jokes I haven't told yet.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh, you and your jokes.
Okay,
You're
well,
so
let's
funny.
wrap up the show then. And
Okay.
I don't know what we're going to do after this. What's next week look like? We
I
got
don't
anything
even
going
know.
on next
Well,
week?
next week.
As we both pull up our calendars.
Yes. Next weekend we're going to the
Ren Fair.
Ren Fair.
Yeah, we
in
should probably buy our
Sarasota.
tickets for that.
We probably should. I was going to do that this
So
weekend.
so we'll be. Oh my God. Hang
Oh my
on.
God.
Before I play the outro.
I guess we're not leaving yet.
I have to tell you, I haven't told you this story, and now's as good as time as any.
Oh.
I was talking
Yay.
to. Fuck, who was I talking to?
You were talking to somebody.
I've been talking to so many people
Yeah,
lately.
you've been.
People have been
social-
friend requesting the shit out of me. Oh, it might have been Kristen. I think it was Kristen Salas.
Okay. Just put her name out there. Nope. All 3 people watching.
Right. Exactly. Yes, that's what it is. It was Kristen. She was running the social media for FREEFLO, taking a bunch of pictures and posting them.
She's doing a great
FREEFLO.
job.
It was
I loved
so
everything.
Great.
It was
Her
great.
costume on
Yeah.
Friday night was really good too.
There were so many good costumes.
So
I hope
anyway,
there's pictures of those. I haven't seen any pictures
She
yet.
is the one who made the cross stitch
Yes.
stuff.
Oh yeah.
And one of them was
the Trekkie
stuff.
with the red suits and the
Yeah.
yeah.
It was
we're
gold
doomed.
is command and
Yeah.
and blue is sciences and red is doomed, right? And so I commented like, we may need to do some commission conversation. But anyway, she says when the Tampa Medieval Festival comes to back in 2020, we're going to dress up in Star Trek uniforms and walk around like an away party. Isn't that the best fucking idea ever?
Oh my God, that's amazing.
So good.
Yeah.
Right?
We need to get in on that.
Oh, it's so good. So anyway,
All right.
there you go.
Awesome.
So we'll probably be back next week. No idea what we're going to talk about, but hey, what the hell? It'll be a lot of fun. And maybe the equipment will work. I don't know. I just spilled a whole rum and coke into it. So,
Jesus Christ.
so we'll see. But we love you, and we'll see you next week. You've been listening to Sarah Talk.
Sarah Talk is made possible by listener support. Visit patreon.com/SarahTalk to become a patron and help keep this program going. Contact Sarah and Company by email at producer@sarahtalk.com or call 224-40-SARAH. That's 224-407-2724. And follow us on social media, facebook.com/SarahTalkRadio and on Twitter @SarahTalkRadio. The opinions and information provided on this show are intended for entertainment purposes only. All opinions are solely that of the hosts and their guests. We make no representations as to accuracy, completeness, timeliness, or validity of any information and will not be liable for any errors or damages. Sarah Talk is a production of Sarah Austin Media.